Alright, what is going on, guys, and welcome to my Week 10 GBA match. This one is against Gubs and the Arizona Deoxys. So, this is kind of a little bit of a different video here just because some shit happened. So, essentially, we were playing on Wi-Fi initially, and we actually had a disconnection. So, since I wasn't live recording, I actually lost that side of the battle. So, I actually had Gubs send me his live recording of the Wi-Fi match, and then we were able to finish off the rest of the match in Showdown. Right here, I just have the team preview in Showdown just so you can see our teams here. I'm rolling with Breloom, Mega Sableye, Claydol, Tornadus T, Darmanitan, and Slowbro. Over there, he's got Cofagrigus, he has Gliscor, Lucario, Talonflame, freaking Tentacruel, and Thundurus T. So, yeah, that's our team preview. I'm now going to hop into Gubs' live recording. So, in this live recording, I'm going to be on the opposite side. So, until the disconnection happens, we have some Wi-Fi footage. Alright, so looking at his team, it seemed pretty safe for me to lead off with Mega Sableye. Plus, I see that he does have the Tentacruel, so I don't want any Toxic Spike shenanigans. So I decided to lead off with Family Jewels here. I am going to Mega Evolve as he leads off with Thundurus. I know that he's probably just going to want to go for the U-turn. I think this thing might be Choice Scarfed, so I don't know at the time, but I expect him to probably just go for the U-turn as I take this opportunity to just Mega Evolve and get a knockoff on pretty much whatever he wants to send in. So he does go for the U-turn. It's not going to do a whole lot of damage because my Sableye is physically defensive, so he is going to actually end up switching into the Tentacruel here. So there's going to be a lot of cuts in this video, sort of, considering it is a live recording, so there was a lot of thinking time involved, so I had to cut that out for the speedy post-commentary thing. So yeah, I go for the knockoff. It does about half to the Tentacruel, and that allows me, I'm like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to go for a Sucker Punch, and it actually doesn't knock it out. After running Calyx, I had a chance to kill, but I'm not going to get the kill there, as he is able to go for an Acid Spray, which is going to lower my special defense harshly and do a little bit of damage in the process. So that's not really all that bad. I can scare him out. A Sucker Punch would actually kill him. So he's actually going to switch into his Lucario, and he wants this thing in here against the Sableye, as I'm going to actually end up switching into Tornadus. So Tornadus against Luke is actually a decent matchup for me. I can one-hit KO with the Focus Blast. I am Life Orb, so I got that extra damage. So he doesn't want to lose his Lucario. He is going to switch into his Thundurus. So we got Tornadus versus Thundurus. I miss my Focus Blast, and that's kind of annoying. So here he's actually going to go for the U-turn. So my thought process there was, my obvious switch is to go into Claydol, so I expected him to probably U-turn, so he could have killed me with a Thunderbolt there. He predicted the Claydol to come in, went for the U-turn. I actually decided not to go into the Claydol, and I went for the Hidden Power Rock. So I have Hidden Power Rock on my Tornadus for the Talonflame. Also does a lot of damage to the Thundurus, so that was a decent play on my end, keeping Tornadus in here expecting the U-turn. He decided to go into the Cofagrigus. I honestly just going to kind of hit this thing with a Hurricane, as he's going to switch right back into Thundurus. So now this time, it gives me a little bit of a couple options. Either he's going to go for the Thunderbolts, expecting me to stay in like I did last time, or he's just going to go for the U-turn, expecting Claydol. But I land the Hurricane, and I actually am able to get the Confusion, which is insane. And I was like, hell yeah, that's like the first time that's freaking happened so far. So he's going to switch out. He doesn't want to mess with the Confusion. He's actually just going to go straight into Talonflame, as I'm going to switch into Claydol, just kind of playing it safe, expecting him to be able to outspeed and probably go for the Thunderbolts. Talonflame comes in as I'm able to switch into my Claydol here. So he's actually just going to go for the U-turn. Claydol is going to stay in, and I actually just click Ancient Power, I believe. I'm like, you know what, we're going to throw rocks at this motherfucker, see what happens. He U-turns, and actually, so he goes into the Tentacruel, and this is kind of unfortunate, seeing as Ancient Power from Claydol is not able to kill this thing. I was like, really, Claydol? But check it out, I do get the stat raises, and I get all of my stats raised +1, and that is insane. But as you'll see here, Claydol is going to actually take a Scald, and unfortunately, he does get the critical hit and the burn. So that's terrible. Worst case scenario, Claydol is although I did get fucked there, I'm able to actually throw some more rocks at this thing, and that is going to kill the Jellyfish. So Claydol got a kill, and I was like, hell yeah, we even got the Ancient Power boost. Things are going pretty swimmingly. So I take burn damage. Hassan's chilling over there, like, you know, ready to pretty much die at this point. Goes into the Thundurus, and I really just don't have any switches, plus he's just going to go for the U-turn, so he would have gotten the matchup anyways. I decided to just let Claydol die. Honestly, not too useful at this point. It was actually an Assault-vested Claydol who was built to be able to take care of his Mega Alakazam, but he didn't decide to bring that. But it still worked well against Thundurus, so I brought it along just to kind of mix things up, I guess. So he's going to U-turn. On the kill, he goes into the Cofagrigus, so this allows me to get whatever matchup I want, and I decide to go into Family Jewels. I bring out Sableye just because I know that this freaking Coffin can't really hurt me at all, and I can just go for a knockoff and get a lot of damage. So I do go for the knockoff. He is going to go into the Lucario, and this was kind of interesting, seeing as I see the Lucario, and I expect it to be just right off the bat, probably like Swords Dance Sweeper. He actually ends up going for the Substitute here, which I did not predict, as I tried to go for the Will-O-Wisp. So that's pretty terrible. There's now a Lucario behind a fucking beanbag, and I can't touch this thing with Sableye. So that's kind of terrible. Here I'm thinking about it, I'm like, who the hell do I want to switch into? I decide to go into Slowbro here. I know that Paul can take any attack from this thing, even if it's a special attacking one. He goes for the Calm Mind, and I was like, oh fuck, it was a special attacking one. So that's really terrible. I was expecting physical, but Slowbro should be able to take at least one attack from this thing, and then be able to break his Substitute. So he is going to go for a Dark Pulse, as I click Psyshock would have guaranteed knocked out his Substitute. So he goes for the Dark Pulse, and check it out. Paul is going to fucking flinch from that. So Slowbro flinches, which is terrible. I don't know what's up with my luck in like getting flinches on Dark Pulses in this damn league, but it seems to happen to me. But this allows him to finish me off with a Flash Cannon, and down goes Slowbro, and that was actually huge, because if I was able to knock down his Substitute with the Psyshock after living a Dark Pulse, I would have been able to bring in Breloom, and a Mach Punch would be able to kill the Lucario. So this leaves me no option but to go into Breloom now. I have to go for the Mach Punch. I need to get rid of this Substitute. So Mach Punch is going to get rid of the Substitute. That should have just punched that Lucario right in the face, but Slowbro decided to flinch. So, you know, that's unfortunate, and a Flash Cannon is going to take out Breloom. So Breloom didn't get to do anything he was supposed to because, you know, plans, you know, fucking didn't go the way they were supposed to. But whatever. I'm now able to bring in Darmanitan. I still have an answer for this thing. So I have Scarf Darmanitan. I am going to go for the Flare Blitz, as he knows he doesn't want to lose his Lucario quite yet, and he's going to go into the Cofagrigus. So Browse on Fleek hits this thing with a fucking Flare Blitz, and of course it's going to do a whole lot of damage, but unfortunately he's going to transfer his Mummy ability and get rid of my Sheer Force. So I could have actually just stayed in here and gone for another Flare Blitz, but I felt like I probably wanted to save Darmanitan. Seems relatively useful for the rest of the match, so I decided to switch out Darmanitan, and I am going to go into Sableye here. So Sableye is a really good matchup against this Cofagrigus. He probably doesn't have any attacking moves that can hit me. Shadow Ball is really the only thing he's got, and even with a physically defensive Sableye, I still take, you know, a decent amount of damage, but I take it relatively nicely. So here I'm just going to go for a knockoff. He surprisingly actually just stays in and goes for another Shadow Ball. I guess he just kind of wanted to, didn't want to risk switching into anything else, losing their items. So he actually gets the special defense drop with the Shadow Ball, which is unfortunate, but I am able to take that thing out with a knockoff. So he's going to now transfer his Mummy ability to me. He's going to get rid of my Magic Bounce, and that's actually kind of interesting because the next thing that decides to hit Mega Sableye is actually going to take the Mummy ability right back from me. So it's like a damn disease out here, just spreading between Pokemon and shit. He's going to go into his Talonflame, and he's going to finish me off with a Brave Bird. I decided to just kind of stay in, considering I really don't have anything to switch in. Fucking Slowbro's dead. I just don't have anything. So I'm able to transfer the Mummy ability and get rid of his Gale Wing, so now he doesn't have priority flying moves anymore, which is really nice. That allows me to actually switch into Darmanitan. Considering I am Choice Scarfed, I am able to outspeed that thing. He can't hit me with a Brave Bird because he's not going to go first. So Talonflame doesn't really have the matchup here, and guess what? We actually disconnect like right here. So that's where the disconnection happens. Game was close to being over, but we actually decided to go into Showdown and leave off at like pretty much the exact same point just to see how things would, you know, play out here. Okay, so we're exactly where we left off in the Wi-Fi battle. I transfer the Mummy to his Talonflame. I'm now going to switch into Darmanitan, and I do click Rock Slide, seeing as it would take out the Talonflame. He decides to switch into the Lucario, and one Rock Slide is not going to take this thing out, but one more Rock Slide actually is able to finish this thing off. So down goes Lucario. At this point, him still having the Talonflame around kind of, you know, solidifies the win for him, but he's going to go into Gliscor. This allows me to switch into Tornadus. I know I can take any attack from this thing, and I might have a chance to kill this thing with Hurricane. So he's going to get his Toxic Poison. He's one of those toxic Gliscors, freaking a pain in the ass. So I missed my first Hurricane, which is unfortunate. Allows him to go for an Aerial Ace, which does a decent amount of damage. One more Hurricane is going to knock him down to 6%, and he breaks through the confusion and is able to hit me with one more Aerial Ace, but luckily for me, I guess one more Hurricane is going to finish off the Gliscor. So I don't know what the fuck why Showdown was messing with like the animation there or whatever, but yeah. So now he's going to go into Talonflame, and at this point, Talonlame is able to finish off the rest of my team. Brave Bird is going to take out Tornadus, and Darmanitan is going to die to a Brave Bird as well. So that was a pretty interesting match. I knew I was going to lose from the disconnection point, but I figured we might as well just kind of pop it in Showdown and see, you know, what the outcome would look like. So that is the end of the match. I lost again, and that sucks. But at this point, I really don't give a fuck. So yeah.